glue is the most underestimated material in any woodworking workshop. Most craftsmen spend weeks thinking about which wood to buy, which joint to cut, which finish to apply. And then they reach for a bottle of glue and squeeze it on without a second thought. As if glue is just glue. As if it cannot go wrong. But it can. And it does. And when it goes wrong, it usually goes wrong quietly. You do not see the failure until the joint opens 6 months later. Until the panel splits. Until the finish will not stick and you have no idea why. By that point the project is either ruined or requires work you did not plan for. And the glue was the cause of all of it. Today on Wood Uncle we are going through 7 glue mistakes that ruin projects. Every single one of them is preventable. Every single one of them is more common than you think. And number 1 on this list is a mistake so basic that most woodworkers refuse to believe they are making it. Welcome to Wood Uncle, the channel that tells you the things other channels skip over. Subscribe now and hit the bell. Because this is the kind of detail that separates a project that lasts from one that does not. Glue mistake number 7. Not preparing the surface before gluing. Wood glue does not bond to wood. It bonds to wood fiber. And if the fiber on the surface of your board has been compressed, burnished, or contaminated, the glue cannot penetrate it properly. The result is a joint that feels solid when you first assemble it, and fails under stress because the bond never went deep enough to matter. The 2 most common surface preparation failures are machine planer burnishing and finish contamination. When you run a board through a thickness planer with dull blades, the blades do not cut the wood fiber cleanly. They compress and burnish it. The surface looks smooth. It feels smooth. But the fibers are crushed flat and sealed, and glue applied to that surface will bond poorly. The fix is a single pass with a sharp hand plane, or a light sanding with 80 grit before gluing. The second failure is finish contamination. If there is any oil, wax, shellac, or finish on the surface near a joint, the glue will not bond. This sounds obvious. But it is not always obvious when contamination has occurred. An oiled workbench. A fingerprint from hands that touched a can of finish. A wiped-over surface where oil finish was tested. Any of these can contaminate a gluing surface invisibly. Before any critical glue up, wipe the mating surfaces with a clean cloth dampened with mineral spirits. Let them dry completely. Then glue. Glue mistake number 6. Using too much glue. More glue does not mean a stronger joint. It means a messier joint, a longer cure time, and in some cases a weaker joint. This surprises most woodworkers. But here is the physics. Wood glue works by penetrating the wood fiber on both mating surfaces and forming a bridge between them as it cures. An excess of glue sitting between the 2 surfaces does not bridge them. It creates a thick layer of dried adhesive that has no fiber reinforcement. That layer is weaker than a properly thin application would have been. The correct application for an edge joint is a thin, even coat on one surface only. The coat should be thin enough that you can see the wood grain through it. When you bring the surfaces together and apply clamp pressure, you should see a small, consistent bead of squeeze out along the entire joint line. If glue is pouring out in thick rivers, you use too much. If there is no squeeze out anywhere along the joint, you use too little. The squeeze out test is the most reliable indicator of correct glue quantity. A thin, even bead all the way along means the joint is fully wetted and the pressure is correct. An absence of squeeze out in any section means that section is likely starved. And a starved joint is a joint that will fail. Glue mistake number 5. Not knowing your open time. Every adhesive has an open time. The window between when you apply the glue and when the joint must be closed for the bond to be effective. With standard PVA wood glue, that window is typically 5 to 10 minutes at room temperature. With hide glue, it is sometimes less than a minute. With slow-setting glue or glue applied in cold conditions, it can extend to 20 minutes or more. The mistake most woodworkers make is not knowing their specific adhesive's open time before they start a complex glue up. They apply glue, begin fitting parts, realize the assembly is more complex than expected, and by the time the clamps go on, the glue is already past its working window. The joint looks closed, but the bond is compromised, and the failure will come later. Before any significant glue up, read the label on your adhesive and note the open time. Then do a complete dry run timed with a watch. If your dry run takes 8 minutes and your adhesive has a 5-minute open time, you either need a slower adhesive or you need to break the assembly into stages. Gluing in stages is not a compromise. It is professional practice. The finest furniture makers in the world glue in stages precisely because they understand open time. And here is something most people do not know. Temperature dramatically affects open time. On a cold day in an unheated workshop, your PVA open time might extend to 15 minutes. On a hot summer day, it might collapse to 3. Know your conditions before you open your bottle. Glue mistake number 4. Clamping with too much pressure. This is the most counterintuitive mistake on this list. And it is one that experienced woodworkers argue about more than almost any other gluing topic. Most craftsmen believe that more clamp pressure means a better joint. The reality is the opposite. Wood glue requires contact and moisture to form a bond. When you apply extreme clamp pressure to a joint, you squeeze out not just the excess glue but the moisture the glue needs to cure properly. You also risk compressing the wood fiber at the joint line, which can create a stress point that cracks later. And if your surfaces are not perfectly flat, extreme pressure will close a gap visually while leaving a stressed joint that will open when the clamps come off. The correct approach is firm, even pressure distributed across the entire joint surface. For an edge joint in hardwood, hand tight plus a quarter turn on a bar clamp is usually sufficient. You are looking for even squeeze out, not maximum force. If you need enormous pressure to close a joint, the problem is not insufficient clamping. The problem is insufficient surface preparation or a joint that does not fit. Fix the joint. Do not try to force it closed with clamps. Clamps are not for closing gaps. Clamps are for maintaining contact while the glue cures. If you are using your clamps to pull a joint closed, something else needs to be fixed first. If this video is opening your eyes to things that have been quietly failing your projects, hit that like button now. And subscribe if you have not already. Because number 3, 2, and 1 are the mistakes on this list that most people have never even considered. Glue mistake number 3. Not accounting for wood movement in the glue up. This mistake does not destroy a joint immediately. It destroys it slowly. Over seasons. As the wood moves with humidity changes and the joint cannot accommodate that movement because the glue is holding it rigid in a configuration that puts the wood under constant stress. The most common version of this mistake is gluing a solid wood panel into a groove in a frame and not leaving room for expansion. In summer, when humidity rises, the panel expands across its width. If the panel is glued into the groove, it has nowhere to go. So it either splits the frame or buckles the panel. The craftsman who built it blames the wood. But the wood was doing exactly what wood always does. The craftsman failed to design around it. The rule for any solid wood panel in a frame is simple and absolute. The panel floats. It is never glued into the groove. It sits in the groove with enough clearance on each side to move seasonally without restriction. A dab of glue at the very center of the panel on one edge only is sometimes used to prevent rattling. But the panel itself must be free to expand and contract. The same principle applies to breadboard ends on a tabletop. The breadboard is attached with elongated slots and a single fixed point at the center. The wood of the tabletop must be free to move past the breadboard as the seasons change. Any glue beyond that single center point will cause a split. Not might, will. Understanding where glue belongs and where it absolutely does not belong is one of the most important distinctions in all of woodworking. And most of it comes down to a single question. Is there wood movement here that I need to accommodate? If the answer is yes, the answer to gluing it is almost always no. Glue mistake number 2. Not curing the glue long enough before removing clamps. The label on most PVA wood glues says the clamps can come off in 30 minutes. And that is technically true. After 30 minutes, a PVA glue joint has enough initial set that it will hold its shape without clamping pressure. But it has not cured. It has set. Those are two completely different things. Full cure for PVA wood glue at room temperature takes 24 hours. During that 24-hour window, the joint is still vulnerable to stress, to moisture, and to movement. A joint that is removed from clamps at 30 minutes and immediately worked on, planed, or put under load is a joint that is being stressed before it has developed its full strength. The bond can be permanently compromised even if the joint does not visibly fail at the time. The rule is simple. Clamps come off when the glue is set enough to handle without distorting. But no stress, no planing, no machining, and no load is applied until full cure. For most PVA glues in normal workshop conditions, that means waiting a full day. In cold conditions or with slow-setting glues, it means waiting longer. I know it is hard to leave a glue up sitting overnight when you want to keep working. But the patience you show at this stage is the patience that protects every hour of work that came before it. Rushing the cure is gambling with your project. And the odds are never in your favor. And now mistake number 1. The most common glue mistake in woodworking. The one that happens in workshops around the world every single day. The one that most experienced woodworkers are making right now, and would deny if you asked them. Glue mistake number 1. Using the wrong glue for the application. Most woodworkers have one bottle of glue. It is yellow. It says wood glue on the label. And they use it for everything. Every joint, every application, every situation in the workshop regardless of what the joint actually needs. And this single habit is responsible for more long-term joint failures than any other mistake on this list. Here is what your one bottle of PVA wood glue cannot do. It cannot handle sustained stress in a joint that is constantly under load without eventually creeping. It cannot survive prolonged exposure to moisture or humidity cycles without degrading. It cannot be reversed or repaired in an antique or heirloom piece without destroying the surrounding wood. And it cannot produce the acoustic properties that musical instrument makers have relied on for centuries. Here is what hide glue can do that PVA cannot. Hide glue is reversible. A hide glue joint can be released with gentle heat and moisture, allowing a piece to be repaired or disassembled without damage. Hide glue is harder than the wood it bonds when fully cured, which means it does not creep under sustained load. And hide glue has been trusted for thousands of years precisely because craftsmen understood its properties and used it where those properties mattered. Here is what epoxy can do that PVA cannot. Epoxy bridges gaps. PVA requires surfaces to be in near-perfect contact to form a strong bond. Epoxy fills voids, bonds to oily tropical hardwoods that PVA cannot grip, and produces a waterproof bond that PVA in its standard form cannot achieve. And here is what polyurethane glue can do that PVA cannot. Polyurethane bonds to materials beyond wood, handles moisture better in outdoor applications, and expands slightly as it cures to fill small gaps in joints that are difficult to bring into perfect contact. The mistake is not using PVA. PVA is an excellent adhesive for the vast majority of indoor furniture and cabinet work where surfaces are well prepared, joints are well fitted, and conditions are stable. The mistake is using it as the default answer to every gluing situation without asking whether the situation calls for something different. Every time you reach for a bottle of glue, ask one question first. Is this the right adhesive for what this joint actually needs to do? That single question, asked every time, will prevent more project failures than everything else on this list combined. So there you have it. 7 glue mistakes that ruin projects every time. Not preparing the surface before gluing. Using too much glue. Not knowing your open time. Clamping with too much pressure. Not accounting for wood movement. Not curing long enough before removing clamps. And using the wrong glue for the application. Every one of these mistakes is preventable. Every one of them is based on a misunderstanding that disappears the moment you understand why glue works the way it does. And every one of them, once avoided, makes your joints stronger, your projects more durable, and your work something that will still be standing long after you are not. Tell me in the comments which of these 7 mistakes you have made. And tell me if there is a glue mistake I did not cover that has cost you a project. Because I want to hear it. Share this video with a fellow woodworker who needs to hear it. Subscribe to Wood Uncle if you have not already. And I will see you in the next one. Glue is not just glue. Treat it like the material it is.